Alright, let's continue the video.
What the f-
Oh,
What are
God.
you? Look at the pixels.
I mean, I know it's a beta, but what is this? What is this? Oh my God, what is that? Is that from PS2? PS1? That's like PS 0.1. Like, I never seen a potato like this in a game before, dude. Look at this
What are
guy.
you? Look at the pixels.
Oh, God.
You can count those. Look at this guy.
Oh, I think they just, since it's a beta, they didn't put the assets yet, but goddamn. Not
So
a
this
good
game
first
is
impression,
crazy.
that's for
So
sure.
it's very CPU demanding, it's very GPU demanding, and
Yeah.
it's very VRAM intensive. This is almost unacceptable.
Oh my
Just who
God.
can play this? It doesn't matter how good your game looks or
Oh, that's like miserable to look at. Goddamn. I think the CPU demanding is because of the shit they know they put in the game. They never learn their lesson because they want to milk the game as soon as it launches, right? So the Dino just fucks the game's performance.
how good it plays if nobody can play it. Alright,
Yeah.
we gotta talk about Monster Hunter Wilds. Obviously, this has been a very anticipated game, probably because the last game, Monster Hunter World,
Yo, thank you for the
was
love.
very,
I
very
really appreciate
popular,
it.
and literally just within the past year, it's reached over 160,000 players.
Yeah, I played this game. This game is overhyped as shit. This game does not play very well. It's a janky piece of garbage. Like, I do not enjoy playing that game at all. I think that the area I quit in this game is probably the Sabertooth. What's his name? Barbatos? Something like Barbados? Who knows? That guy just made me quit the game. I don't want to deal with it. It's just unfun. Like some of the mechanics, it's just too much bloated mechanics that nobody wants us to use. And then it's just so tedious to fight the mobs. Like in this game, like Monster Hunter, it's just so tedious. I will keep lurking between, okay? Ah, no problem, no problem. Thank you, thank you. Just drop by anytime you got time. It's just, they have so much HP, and then they have this wacky tender bullshit you have to do. Otherwise, they don't take it. Tank any attacks at all. And then I think it's worse than Elden Ring. I'd rather play Elden Ring than that piece of shit. You know? Unless in Elden Ring you will get rewarded for doing something, right? There is no complicated bullshit you have to do. But damn, this game, holy shit. Let's
This
continue.
team's still maintaining to this day 40 to 50,000.
I mean, it's an online game you can co-op with, so that's why this number is. If it's an offline game, single player, this would be big.
Maybe even 60 to 80,000 players.
Yeah.
Now the beta test for Monster
I think for me personally, yeah, I think the mechanics are too much. Like it's just straight up too much. Like I don't enjoy that mechanics at all. Personal preference, that is. But if you like that kind of a mechanics, go for it. Good for you.
Hunter Wilds has released, which is
Yeah.
crazy because this game doesn't come out until February of next year, but it's early November
Yeah.
of 2024 right now, and it's really far away. I don't know why the beta is so early. 460,000
In
people.
alpha, beta, I mean, if that's the case, this game only has 4 months. You think they can fix this in 4 months? I don't know,
All-time peak
that one
yesterday. I'm
doesn't sound
recording this
video
really
good.
late at night right now, and there's still 162,000 people playing the game. It is nuts, guys. This game is popping off. And from my experience playing it, it's been quite fun, but I have a fear that all of the people that are playing this game right now are not having a very good experience. Because
Yeah,
this game
I will
is
experience it right
stupidly
after this.
hard to
We'll see.
run on your system. I don't think PS5 is going to have a good time running this either, so don't get me wrong there. But the system requirements came out, what, like a month ago? Was it a month ago? I'm not sure. But the minimum specs and everything doesn't seem that bad. This is targeting 1080p 30 FPS, and these aren't very new CPUs. They're pretty old, or at least a low-end, newer one. And the GPUs required aren't that high-end either, so this didn't seem that bad for minimum. But that's only 30 FPS at 1080p. And the real fear ends up, these aren't even running the game at 1080p. No, these are running from 720p and being upscaled to 1080p, which is just...
Yikes.
Okay, if you want to go to recommended...
Okay, you said it's upscaling. Is it frame gen or is just normal DLSS? Because that changes things very much. Because if you have frame gen and it only gives you 30 FPS, we are in a deep trouble, you know? But if it's normal upscaling, I think it's kind of... I mean, even though 720p, like, come on.
specs, it doesn't really look that bad. I'm a little fearful of is this is a...
I think, here's the thing. My personal opinion, if you have friends to play with, and you co-op with the boss fights, probably you will have more fun. I played it solo. God, I want to hate my luck. I want to just lay down and, lay down and just sleep. Like, if it was that miserable to play this. Still upscalable text so absolutely, yes.
relatively newer CPU. Same with this one too. And these are only targeting 60 FPS. And the GPUs down here don't really look that crazy.
Dude, that's actually kind of high end. This is a mid-range GPU, right? Yeah, 2070 Super 6700 XC. Look at this. This is a mid-ranger. I actually had that GPU.
So
I had both of them. I had 2070 Super and I had 6700 XT. I had both of them, dude.
probably means we're going to be limited by CPU.
Goddamn.
And it gets even scarier when you see that this is only 1080p,
Yeah, hello,
60
welcome.
FPS if you want to target this. It's with frame generation.
Hello, channel 820
that
channel
means
one.
that we're frame generating from like 30 FPS or
Channel
40 FPS
hallelujah.
and going up to 60. This isn't even a native 60
that's
FPS.
not really
And
like
what if
you.
the
We're
frame
ready to
generation
mess
doesn't look good? Frame generation increases your latency. The game is going to be less responsive. It might look smoother. It may look like it's 60 FPS, but it's not going to be responsive like that. And in a game like Monster Hunter Wilds, you actually need pretty quick response times. It's a combat game, multiplayer combat game, and if you just can't respond in time, well, you're going to get destroyed. Frame generation enabled and recommended just to get to 60 FPS. Usually frame generation would be like, oh, you're already at 60 FPS and you can go higher than that. Actually getting to the point where you need frame generation just to get a normal frame rate in the game.
Wait,
and I can tell you from the jump,
that doesn't make any sense because if you use frame generation below 60 FPS, you will have it doesn't work. Like Nvidia itself said so that frame generation will only be work very well if you have above 60 FPS to begin with. But with this game, you have to enable frame generation and then it will get to the 60 FPS. Oh my god, this game is gonna suck to play. I'm gonna play it right now. Like, is it downloaded yet? Yeah, I think the beta test is still open, I hope. And I'm gonna play it right now after this video, most likely. I'm downloading it right
where
now.
you need frame generation just to get a normal frame rate in the game. And I can tell you from the jump, when you launch up
for only looking for a game for a better motor previous, right? Yes.
the game, you will be prompted if you want to use frame generation or not on the RX 6700 GPU, basically the PS5's GPU. FSR 3 frame generation, this is AMD's frame generation. It looks terrible. You see all of these artifacts around the characters as they move around. The shadow along the ground is also all artifacty and buggy looking. That's because of the frame generation. FSR 3 frame generation can look very good, but because from like 40 FPS to get up to 60, well,
do you want to make your game look like it's having a seizure? Turn this on.
It's gonna look bad. The frames that it's interpolating between to make more frames, they're far apart. So it just looks like garbage. There's too much gap to make up. Right now, I actually have the RTX 4060 in my system right now. We can test out if this actually can achieve even 1080p on this. So you can see that we're in Monster Hunter Wilds here. All right, it's obviously the beta. Things could change. You can see this is actually rendered in real time. The opening.
Yeah, that sounds like complete bullshit. The game comes out in February 12 or something, man. So in 4 months, you're expecting me to fix the game and it runs smoothly? Yeah, no shit.
Seen here, 44
no
FPS.
Shit.
I also have some other stats that we'll talk about right below the frame rate and all.
Just for context, how long do you think Cyberpunk took them to make it a playable game? Yeah, think about that.
all that, and we'll talk about that. So don't.
And here's the funny part. CD Projekt Red is actually a bigger AAA company, and it took them almost a year to fix that game for it to be a playable rate. This game is a Japanese, like a small studio. Capcom, I don't think they really give a shit about games that much. Like, they don't optimize that right well at all. You expect Capcom to fix this game in a span of 4 months?
Don't worry. So let's see what the defaults us to with the recommended graphics
Yeah.
card. Now I am on a 4K monitor. Has graphics settings here, and it puts us on medium settings. Okay, we'll take a look at that later as well. NVIDIA DLSS is here, and it's putting us on performance upscaling
Man, look at the menu. It's like piss. What color is this?
right
God.
away with 50% sharpness. Frame generation is not enabled. By the way, if you do
Jesus.
just want
Of all the colors you can, this is the color you picked for your menu.
scaling right away with
Jesus.
50% sharpness. Frame generation is not enabled.
What is
By the
this?
way, if you do just want to see CPU testing because it is really crazy, there are timestamps below if you are just interested in that. You can see here right off the get-go, we have some issues.
What resolution?
Because we are at 4K.
Oh my
granted.
God.
It did say 1080p, so let's go ahead and just drop
Oh, that's 4060. That card is dog
down the
shit.
settings to 1080p and check that first.
You should have, I think at this point, if you want to play a new modern AAA game, get a 4070, man. Just don't waste your time. Like 1080p high settings without frame generation, you need a 4070 or a 3080. Like, I know it sucks to hear that, but that's the truth. Look at this. 4060 gives you 30 FPS.
Your graphics settings menu is terrible, by the way. I hate this.
Wait, he's playing it on 4K.
It is
Oh
really
shit,
annoying to
it
work
gives you
with. Let's
30
go
FPS.
just 1080p native without any upscaling and see what the 4060 can do. And you can see the game looks a lot blurrier if you are on a 4K monitor watching this. And yeah, we can only
No,
achieve
I don't think I don't think I will ignore this complaint. Running it on a 4K monitor with a 4060 and then says it only gives you 30 FPS is not really a good what do you call it, comparison, because let's be honest, pretty much everybody knows running any AAA game in 4K is stupid. You know, anything below 4090, forget it. That's what I think.
Whoa, I mean like 40 FPS. The middle number on top is the average FPS, okay? Honestly, one of the most popular GPUs in the world now. And
Okay,
you know
83%
what's even
score
crazier
is
too?
done soon.
I'm on the fastest CPU in the world right now. Until the 9800 X3D comes out, but I'm on the Ryzen
Yeah.
7800 X3D. It's the fastest gaming CPU available right now. But you can see that our GPU usage percentage
Yeah, fastest gaming 3 is CPU with a 3D scratch. It doesn't have, I don't think it still doesn't have this fastest single core performance. Most of the games still use single core performance anyway.
isn't always
Big numbers. I see high FPS, so my CPU is the best. Because I don't know shit about anything else. Yeah.
maxed
Welcome to modern PC gaming. Big FPS means better processor.
out, which means at times we're getting CPU limited. And especially if you go to areas with a lot of other players and stuff, you can start to get CPU limited, even on just a mid-range GPU. It is actually crazy how demanding this game is. It makes like no goddamn sense. So you can see that I have some
come on.
stats
Okay, there we
listed
go.
up top here that are called GPU busy and the frame time average. What GPU busy is how long does it take the GPU to render a frame, and then the frame time average that's right below it is how long does it take the CPU to render a frame. If the GPU
sounds
time
brutal.
lower than the CPU time, then you're going to be CPU limited because the GPU is working faster. If the GPU is taking longer to render a frame than your CPU is, then you're going to be GPU limited. It's relatively simple to understand. With those two numbers compared together, you can see to the right of it, there's actually a percentage marker that says 1% right now. And what that is the deviation. Sounds complex, it's not really that complex. How different are they from each other? The GPU is rendering frames, I think 2%, I think that's what this means, 2% faster than the CPU right now, which means that we are CPU limited.
Is that you? It seems like there is another player there.
All right, so basically if that percentage goes up, we are more and more CPU limited. Right now, we're only on a mid-range GPU that really isn't that good for this generation, and we're getting CPU limited here.
Man, I think I bought a freaking Monster Hunter on my Steam, dude. Let me look at. God, I just do not believe people when you see in the reviews. Just don't believe them and buy shit, dude. Just do your own research and then play the fucking demo by all means if you can, and then decide to when you buy a game. Do not believe these quote unquote influencers or reviewers because holy shit, I believed one guy and then bought Monster Hunter World. God damn, that game played like complete ass. Like it's just it's just so lame to play that game.
As you leave, this game is still extremely demanding, but I'm kind of walking out of the camp here.
Here's the thing, like even though I will still understand that game would be more fun playing with friends, but holy shit, playing it solo, I did not enjoy that.
And I can call I forget what these are called. Yep, you can hop on it and ride around. It's pretty cool. Like, look at the world. It is really cool. This game is doing pretty
Yeah, you can hop onto your Guild Wars 2 rip-off mount right there. Guild Wars did that like 10 years ago.
breaking things. Like, this is a massive
Wow,
world.
what an
There's
innovation.
really dramatic weather, huge boss fights and everything. But you can see out here, we're not as CPU.
Is this Unreal Engine 5? Is this Unreal Engine 5? WILDS. Never mind, it's an RE engine. I don't know what. Oh! Hey, is that a Resident Evil engine? I think it's a Resident Evil engine. How the hell they made this out of that?
CPU limited at times. Usually there will be a 1 to 2%.
And you wonder why it runs like complete garbage. Because if you think about it, Resident Evil is a very closed space game, and at a certain amount of time, you don't see that much. Most of the time, right? And then this one is an open world game. There is a million things that's happening at the same time. So you can see how it's just a resource intensive, right? Why would you make a horror engine game and then use it for open world? What are you doing? It's like they are trying to use a hammer as a wrench.
Deviation or something, so expect that. If it gets more than that, then we're starting to get CPU limited. But our GPU is only able to pump out like 40 FPS or something like that, and that kind of frame rate is what gets me like, oh, this is why they said frame generation was required.
Yeah, I'm gonna launch it right now. I just got the beta right now. Let's see. If it's still open, I will play it right now. We will see how it goes. Come on, let's go. Wait, let me open my PC. I don't want my GPU to catch fire. Is it combining shaders? It is combining shaders. Okay, we can continue watching the video. Also, to do the clutch. Let me show you the game. Engine, Monster Hunter beta test, audio, Monster Hunter Wild beta test. I'm gonna shit on this game completely because the first game is not that great as people say it is. Straight up. I rather play Dark Souls 2. Okay, do you guys see the game? Let me show you. So as you can see, it's compiling the shaders for an eternity. Once it's done, I will keep playing it. Alright? It's stuck at here.
Is there any way to get this to run at 60 FPS at 1080p? We can try a little bit upscaling. We can try NVIDIA's DLSS here. Yes, this isn't 1080p anymore, but we can go to quality upscaling. See that we were at like the low to mid 40s and now we're at like 50 or so. But we are starting to get a little bit CPU limited, which is just insane. This game is asking so much of the CPU right now. And the newer CPUs that are coming out, like the 9800X3D, isn't supposed to be that much faster than this one. It is doing new things, but at the same time, it's like, holy shit, how does it
No, I
run
don't
this
think
bad?
so. The 9800X3D is basically a overclocked version of 7800X3D. That's what I learned. Like it doesn't change the architecture. It's just the same CCD. It's just a bit faster and overclocked. That's it. Like if you have 7800X3D, I think you should just wait.
It is also a beta. We'll see if it gets better. This doesn't necessarily surprise me because the last game that Capcom released was Dragon's Dogma 2, and that was also on the RE
Oh,
engine, just like this.
oh. Two dots kind of make a line, man. So they released Dragon's Dogma. Everybody knows how that game ran. Everybody knows how that game ran.
Game is, and Dragon's Dogma 2, another open world game and stuff, it ran really bad
Yeah.
too, especially in city spaces. It was terrible. We thought Cyberpunk was bad. We thought Alan Wake 2 was bad. You can't play this game. Like, you can't even hit 60 FPS. Frame generation was built into the recommended
Man,
spec.
that sounds
So
depressing.
let's go ahead and
It's just like, yeah.
turn on frame
He's
generation.
like a
We
doctor
can try
that just says
this
the patient is gonna
and
die.
go from there.
God damn.
So we'll see. The game is broken right now. It's gonna come back. It feels really, really laggy. I don't know if you guys... this won't be perfectly in sync, but it's like... Do you see that with my mouse?
Yeesh.
My camera isn't perfectly in sync with the gameplay, but this feels terrible. Let's turn off upscaling. Holy shit, bro.
Nice.
What is happening? Oh, wait. I think I know what's happening, actually.
Wait. He's running at native DLSS frame generation high low. This is on 1080p.
Guys, our VRAM is getting maxed out. Oh my god, the mouse feels so bad. Holy shit. Well,
Wow. Imagine getting a 4060 and playing the game and getting 12 FPS. That's really sounds like a good time. What do you guys think? Imagine getting a latest mid-range GPU and then playing a game and then getting 12 FPS. Wow, welcome to modern gaming.
let's turn on DLSS quality upscaling. Turn off frame generation. Okay, and then now the game's playable again. Okay, so the reason we got here is the 4060 is only an 8GB graphics card, definitely pushing it. And frame generation, at least DLSS's frame generation, does use...
Yeah, not my 3080 is this that far off either. My 3080 only has 10 gigs of VRAM.
more VRAM
It goes
when you turn
up.
it on. So right now we're chilling at about, you can see
Can't
the
wait
top
to play with the
left,
potato
at about
textures.
6.2 actually used
That
VRAM,
looks like
and
complete
then it's
dog shit.
allocating almost 7 gigabytes. So we're already pushing it. So if we want to use frame generation, we're probably going to have to go here, graphics settings, and let's just turn it down to medium again and see if that helps our VRAM usage. And you can see that does help our VRAM usage up there. So now we're below 6. And our frame rate is around 50 or so. Okay, now we can probably turn on frame generation and see what this does. So can we get over 60 with the fake frames? Yes, we can. And I can
Hey, that
already
actually
see
suppressing
artifacts.
looks
You can kind
smooth.
of see here, like the coat that my guy's
Oh,
wearing
yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
phases
it
in
has
and out
that
of
stuff.
existence every now and then, which is kind of odd. But I guess we can get 60 FPS. I'm actually just like mind blown. If you go into the, the recommended specs, they say that frame generation is...
I think here's the thing. If you have the top of the range CPU, like for all the problems the 7800X3D has, it is to be honest, arguably the fastest CPU you can get with a reasonable price, right? And if a game runs like complete crap on that CPU combined with a good GPU, that means maybe, possibly, potentially, might be your engine is kind of dog shit and you didn't optimize your game properly. You know? Maybe. You know? I'm not completely sure about that. But if you have the top of the range CPU and GPU, and then ran the game at 1080p 60 FPS, and then the game runs like complete dog shit, probably fucked up somewhere in the optimization. Probably.
Required for this mode. And the reason for that, it seems like, is actually because frame generation bypasses the CPU, because the GPU is entirely just interpolating completely new frames. So it doesn't need the CPU to do anything. And even the fastest CPU in the world can't run this game at 60 FPS. And like, what does that mean for all the other CPUs? I'll be checking I have a Ryzen 5900X, which is an older CPU. I'll be checking out just a little bit, see what that can even do. Not only is this game GPU demanding, it's also like exponentially more CPU demanding as well. I will say this doesn't feel terrible.
I mean, it doesn't look like it's CPU demanding. I think he is talking about the single core demand. Look at that. The CPU is sitting at like 26%. That's like a 26 means he has an 8 core. That's only using a quad core. If bitch runs on a quad core, fine. But it just needs so much of the single thread performance, which AMD 3D can't do that. You need Intel for this one.
With the responsiveness,
from what I'm looking at,
it doesn't feel god awful, and I'd say DLSS frame generation is looking a lot better in this game compared to FSR3 frame gen. Now, if you were able to get 60 FPS with FSR3 frame gen, I think it would probably look fine, but you can't achieve that. The reason NVIDIA's can look better here is because it does use deep learning. I don't like how unresponsive it feels, but I would probably play with it on. Because we have to. So let's go ahead and throw in a higher tier GPU. This is the RTX 4070 Super. It's really hard to see it because it's all black. But let's throw this one in.
We can
this
see it.
GPU is $600. So it's double the price of the 4060. I think as we boot into the game here, yes, this game does have...
I think I just heard the game launch behind.